Words Out. This publication gathers together many of the voices that have sounded from within the unique Open Arts programme. Words Out is an eclectic anthology of creative work by Open Arts participants. www.openartsni.org. Editors Ruth Carr and Natasha Cuddington. Design Joanne McCrum. Proofreading and audio description for audiobook Kate Ingram. Audiobook recording Michael McNulty. Open Arts staff Eileen Branagh, Gemma Robinson and Bev McKeown. An eclectic anthology of creative work by Open Arts participants, including its core writing group and featuring a range of visual art material from its art groups.
Contents: Tally McDowell, 221. Frances McGonigal, 236. Andrea Hope, 352. Lindsay Bagwell, 605. Jolene Devlin, 713. Katie McGahey, 922. Angela Porter, 1046. Bernice Burrows, 1945. Bruna Murphy, 2637. Andrew Ward, 3241. Peter Livingston, 3627. Carly Palmer, 3804. Alison Black, 4343. Jerry McBride, 4558. Sarah Cantillon, 5510. Ryan McCarthy, 110. Gareth Smith, 10300. John Caulfield, 10731. Michelle Porter, 10956. Delia Scan, 11140. Kate Ingram, 11324. Jolene Flynn, 11623.
Image by Talia McDowell. Rectangular tiles in blues, greens, pinks and purples are textured with bumpy swirls of paint and speckled with contrasting colours.
Frances McGonigal, Open Arts Community Choir. My poem. My poem guides you on walks down the river to see herons, ducks, frogs, tadpoles, insects, a little world of its own. My poem guides me up old railway lines to smell fresh green growth, flowers, butterflies, birds, and lots of life. My poem takes me away from sad thoughts to focus on other things, see people, dogs, little children, baby birds, and new life. Life, Frances McGonigal. Blue, cloudless skies, a gentle breeze, the splashing of waves, birdsong in trees. Golden sands, sun splitting the trees, piano playing gentle melodies. Children laughing, they're the future ahead. Babies crying, a rainbow after a heavy shower. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow lies ahead. Live for this moment. Give love to one and all.
Andrea Hope, Open Arts Board Member. Lines and Connections. Through dance, we find ways of making lines, shapes and connections with our own bodies or other people. And whilst doing this, we'd be moving through the space, using the head, moving it in different directions. How are lines created? How does the body respond? Curving the spine, the line can be moved to being low level or high, changing from the head to another body part. Perhaps reaching out using a foot and connecting with another person's hip, another line is created. Lines can be created standing up, laying down, a mixture of both. Even being lifted off the ground is a line. It doesn't have to be a straight line, horizontal or vertical. It can be slanted and can move in any direction. That's the beauty of contemporary dance. Don't Breathe. Andrea Hope. I remember learning Laudate Dominum by Mozart at uni when I was studying for my degree in music. And there's one phrase towards the end of the song where there's about 11 notes and it's all sung in one breath. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, so was taking snatchy breaths now and again in the hope my singing teacher wouldn't notice, but she did, and she'd say, keep going, it has to be in one breath, and eventually I got it. I could then take a breath and sing the last 9 notes in one breath. And it didn't feel that it was lasting forever. Hallelujah, what a relief. I was so pleased, and so was my teacher.
Lindsay Bagwell, Open Arts Community Choir. Making Music Still. Quivering, I feel quavers calling me over to calm my soul. Taut wires of worry relax into a line of chairs on a music sheet. People are bars and clefs arranged in parts. We are here, in a room, present. What a gift. A crescendo of giggles. Arms stretched to prepare our message. What? Me? Who? Us? Yes, people, here in body, voice, joy. Our differences make the rhythm of support, structure in the music, but more so in friendship, learning, growing and healing by harmonies. Rest too. And bars. Well, we are no angels, though our range may reach heaven. The lines of notation give us routine, resonance, echoes of love, passion, shared in moments that will replay until our hearts again soar. We make music still.
The image is by Jodie Devlin. In the top 2 corners of the image, weights flatten the pages. One may contain grass and flowers, the other is a mere blob of pink. The image is of a crudely drawn butterfly, coloured in blacks, blues, yellows and pink zigzags. Beneath the drawing, written carefully in blue, is "Friends call me their wee butterfly."
Jodie Devlin, Visual Art. Pleasures of Nature. Birds waking us in the morning with their bird song, the sound of the waves as they lap in on the shore. Flowers blooming in spring, bees buzzing and making honey, baby lambs being born and other animals. The taste of lovely fresh fruit, so juicy when you bite into it. The warmth of the sun shining on you as you sit in the garden and the cool breeze in the shade. The sound of ducks quacking in the park, or the geese coming up to us looking bread. The sound of a waterfall trickling, rain tapping softly on the window, snowflakes fall in winter, hailstones falling to the ground, icy paths after a really cold night. Thunder and lightning rumbling in the sky. In a storm you can hear the wind howling or blowing. In summer you can smell the freshly cut grass. You can taste the fresh produce grown in allotments. These are just some of the many pleasures of nature.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group. A huge red poppy with black centre dominates the bottom half of the page, surrounded by swirls of blue, yellow and green. The top right-hand and left-hand corners contain red shapes outlined in black, which could be poppy petals.
Katie McGahey, Open Arts Community Choir and Visual Art. Love and Beauty, in memory of Marilyn McGahey. Love flowers where she walks in beauty every day, shining bright like a star high in the distance. Her scent lingers on. I hear her whisper in my ear that everything will be all right. Holding me tight in her arms. It will be all right as you are big and strong. I understand you must go now. Sleep tight, little one, flying like a butterfly. I'll see you in heaven one day. Thank you for making me into a beautiful woman. I'll never stop loving you. Just keep blossoming like a beautiful flower. I'll see you again.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group. This is an abstract, painterly image in vibrant colours. A slash of black in the top right-hand corner melts into vertical blues, greens, black and white, and horizontal yellows and orange. Centre top is a broad stripe of blues and blacks, while the left has blobs and dabs of green, blue, black and orange, all merging into the bottom, where angled lines of bright orange, white and black fan out from two orange circles.
Angela Porter, Visual Art. My wee brother Sam. Sam, what can I say? It's great in one way, being the oldest sibling, because you're in charge and make the decisions. The other way, you get stuck with them all the time. They look up to you and are excited to be with you, but you're thinking, oh God, do I really have to bring him with me? Ugh. I was so embarrassed to be seen with him. He never spoke. I swear, it was so annoying. He could hear everything but never spoke. He was taken to the doctor so many times. He'll either speak when he's ready or not at all. Well, that was great advice, Sherlock. I could take him for so long, then he started to drive me crazy. I feel guilty now saying that. He was born on my 2nd birthday. So the year I turned 14, he turned 12. On that day, all my friends and I got the bus into town, then went to McDonald's. Also, as per usual, Sam just toddled along behind us. He had no friends of his own, and after a while he would get on my friends' nerves, just staring into their faces. It was extremely annoying, but I was just used to it. We were sitting eating our Big Macs when Tim, one of my so-called friends, started making fun of Sam. He was doing impressions of him, staring into faces. Out of the blue, Sam threw his tray onto the ground and started to speak. This annoying boy called Tim made fun of different from him. He laughed and he stirred, but no one else cared. He really was boring and dim. All my friends burst out laughing, but I don't know if they were laughing at Sam or what he said. I just sat with my mouth wide open in shock. He just sat down and stared into my eyes again. I tried to get him to speak. Will you please try again? Is this definitely the first time you have spoken? No answers. He was just back to the way he was. When I told Mum and Dad, it was, aye, right. Didn't believe me at all. A week later, I had to run an errand to the shops. I didn't have to turn around. I could just feel his breath on my back. While we were standing in the queue to pay, a massive man gave us a dirty look and just stood in front of us. Sam started to stamp his foot, and I thought, bloody hell, here we go again. There was once an ignorant man, bunked the queue in front of Sam. Whatever Sam said, his face turned red. Scaredy cat just ran. The man's face turned purple and he stamped out of the shop with his tail between his legs. I was tapping Sam on the back, laughing, asking him to say more, but he wouldn't budge. His limericks come out more regular after time. I was locked in the bathroom early one morning when I heard him shouting, "Would you please help me? Get out of the bathroom, you see. I need to make my way to the loo today because I'm really dying to pee." I couldn't stop laughing. He was saying things that needed to be said, but for some reason it had to be in limericks. Mum and Dad still didn't believe me until one night when we were at the dining table. All of a sudden, Sam stood up. I got excited. "I hope you don't mind if I say, be truthful to you if I may, the food that you make, be it cooked, be it baked, gets worse and worse every day." When I looked over, Dad was patting Mum in the face because she had fainted. Thank God she hadn't taken the words that Sam said because she was in shock. I was like a kid saying, "I told you so." They asked friends and family over that weekend for a party to celebrate Sam's speech. The thing was, he hadn't spoken the rest of the week and Mum was panicking. When everyone arrived on Saturday night, they thought my mum was hearing things. Sam just sat and stared at everyone. When they all started laughing and taking the mickey out of my mum, Sam stood up and stamped his foot. He pointed to Uncle Willie. I've got something to say to you, Willie. When you're drunk, you're incredibly silly. One night you were steaming, your smile it was beaming, said you were having an affair with Lily. Aunt Bessie sat beside Willie and slapped him across the face. Sam started again. You can't talk, Aunt Bessie. I can tell that things are messy. The worst of all, you were against the wall, kissing the binman called Desi. Smoke started to come out of Willie's ears when Sam started again. Next you, Uncle Liam, depends so much on your Zimmer frame. When no one's around, you turn up the sound and dance to the music from Fame. Great Uncle Liam covered his face with his handkerchief. He was so embarrassed. Sam took a deep breath. Here we go again. Great Aunt Jane is next in line, pretends she drinks one glass of wine. When no one's looking, she's able to pour more under the table, acting sober while everyone dines. Great Aunt Jane just shrugged her shoulders. The next in trouble was Aunt Jean. She was the hardest, scariest one of the family. You didn't get on the wrong side of her. But did Sam care? Silly question. Aunt Jean, most are scared of you. Misbehave, you grab your shoe. On your own, no one knows how you dress in fairy clothes, dancing around with your teddy called Sue. You little liar, she came running to Sam, and he just pushed her back onto the settee. Uncle Bobby, you're scared of your wife. Stay clear when she's holding a knife. When she says you're bold, just do what you're told, anything for an easy life. I thought, right, we can't have any more, so I trailed Sam up to our bedroom. When we closed the door, we both burst into tears of laughter. We could hear the fighting downstairs, glasses smashing, bangs, shouting and screaming. To this day, Sam only speaks in limericks. He has me in stitches all the time, but there are some people who would prefer if he couldn't talk at all. Little Wooden History, Angela Porter. In Grandma's 1950s scratch suitcase, I pack away the Christmas decorations. The house appearance and atmosphere decays, January blues creep in. Returning it to its rightful place, memories float around my head, gasping as I stumble forward, hunching to pick up the cause of my fall. Sitting down, cross-legged, I blow the dust from the lid, blinking my eyes, coughing repeatedly, oblivious to its existence. An alluring wooden box, antique, ornately carved oak. I run my fingers over the detail, feeling intricate panels of floral decoration. In the centre of the lid, a small, deep carving, the letters W.T. Inspire and incite me to look inside. I raise the brass handle. Bundles of letters held together with a hair bobble. My address in the yellowy brown envelopes. Mrs. Mary Thompson, every top line. Stamps, a cloaked lady holding flowers by a grave. Gently and carefully, I take out a letter. My darling Mary, only read 3 words when tears appear. I miss you in ways that not even words understand. Hours spent going back in time, letter by letter, 1915 to 1918. From Albert to Fricourt, La Boisselle to Mamette, William's promises, loving thoughts to nurture Mary. A diary, book, library could be written, the care and love shining through. Putting it together, neat and tidy, I set it to the side delicately. My eyes rush back inside the precious antique. 3 medals await. First, a star embossed with 1915. In the middle, a silver disc war medal. End, a bronze disc victory medal. Pride overcomes me for a man I have never met, never known. Holding my shoulders back, I grin. Mary would have been heartwarmed. Underneath, black and white photos on the back, names in calligraphy. William, a handsome young man, smartly dressed in his ceremonial uniform. Next photo, the couple's wedding. Mary so pretty, fetching, unique, wide smiles beaming with happiness, not knowing the downfall of the near future. Final photo in colour. Older gentleman and lady with recognisable smiles. I hold my breath while flipping it over. William and Mary, 1976.
Bernice Burrows has coloured a Ukrainian flag in blue and yellow. Underneath it is a small holdall, a passport, a helmet with Ireland written on it, a water bottle and a sign saying refugee, alongside a sunflower.
Bernice Burroughs, Creative Writing. Asylum Seeker, in loving memory of Andrei Tchaikovsky, 19th of May 1971 to 9th of November 2021. There's a foreign man standing on the other side of the fence. He is fleeing from war, trying to climb over to safety. I do not know his story. There is a stranger standing on the other side of the fence, staring ahead with a dazed look. Then suddenly he looks at me. I do not recognize him. There is an asylum seeker. He is now on my side of the fence. He looks at me and smiles. There is a friend sitting in the sun with me. His name is Andrei. He is my husband.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group has collaborated to produce a compelling mosaic of coloured tiles. A turquoise background is overlaid with pink and red, while below, flame-like spikes of orange, red, yellow and brown reach upwards.
Belfast, Bernice Burroughs. The green dome of the City Hall, a seagull perched on a statue, the city walls telling stories, murals speaking of both division and shared history, holding the secrets of the past and present. The cranes of Harland and Wolff standing tall. The infamous Titanic was built here. 1,000 shipyard workers marching in early morning, their footsteps now silent, as the army of workers cease to be. There's something about this place that will always bring me back home. I live here because I was born here. I love this city of Belfast. Starlings, Bernice Burroughs. Above the cranes of the Belfast skyline, at dusk and dawn, starlings take flight. My heart beats faster as I draw invisible wings, joining in imaginatively on their flight. Graceful, sequential movements, rhythms of togetherness. Suddenly one little bird separates from the flock, flying solo. She leads the way. They dive under the Albert Bridge from across the troubled city. First Tooth after Bernie McGill. Bernice Burroughs. You stayed all night where I laid you, the sound of you sleeping peacefully amidst the noise of the outside world. I lay awake, looking at you and admiring your beauty. I keep watch over you as mothers do, thinking to myself how much we have come through already, thinking of the many years ahead of us. You had a lot of growing to do. I try to imagine a life without you when separation comes, as come it must, and how I will cope without you and you without me. Tonight, laid here in the dark with only the moonlight casting shadow on us, I watch the stars shining and the moonlight casting light on your hair as I shift you awake and I rock you back over to sleep. Both of us perfectly content on this clear night. I wonder what will happen at first light, but the stars remind me that it is still a long way off, and to hold on to this moment and all the little moments in between night and morning, treasuring them in my heart. Shadows fall softly on us as I inhale and exhale. I close my eyes and draw closer to you, wanting to memorize this moment. I breathe you in, your scent mingled with the smell of home and all that was familiar. I make shadow signs and shapes on the moonlit wall, a bird-shaped sign that spreads its wings and takes flight. And then I make a flap of wings, imagining they belong to angels. I make the sign for cat, and then the sign which means I love you. Still you sleep, oblivious of the shapes I was making on the wall. I lean down and plant a kiss on your head. Tonight I am anxious about what will happen to us. I calm my troubled soul by stroking your soft hair. Suddenly overwhelmed by the unknown, I start to cry. You stir as if concerned, as if you know what is wrong. We are a comfort to each other. I lull you back to sleep and make myself calmer again by just looking at you and stroking your soft, silky hair. I will be okay, I say aloud for both our benefits. Small gestures matter, and feeling your soft body rise and fall next to mine, so unperturbed, I feel a connection so new and so sharp, I gasp. Knowing in the future, should I need to, I can return to this moment and this sense of togetherness. I must have drifted off for a while, snuggled up with you, because when we awake, it is first light. You stayed all night where I had laid you, close to me. As I rise to stand, I lift you to a higher place, your little body in my arms. And as I fold the blankets back together, I see it, so small that it is almost invisible, and in the darkness I must have missed it. I bend to pick it up from the floor. It is a tiny tooth belonging to you, which has fallen out. Your first tooth.
Brona Murphy, Creative Writing, Being, after Emily Dickinson. I bees, ick, I bees, or, I bees, ad, I bees, torm, I bees, illy, I bees, miles, I bees, mart, I bees, tile, I bees, oft, I bees, avi, I bees, elf. Mistakes, Brona Murphy. Mistakes could be my middle name, but I look back with little shame. From major to minor, as Piaf said, they're all around, but better than dead. I kept a book of stupid gaffes from home to work. It's full of laughs. For a poetry slam we were told to bring a notebook, but mine had no writing. My turn, nervous breakdown, not exciting. I had nothing, diddly squat. Poetry slam, oh god damn, I read from a page that was blank. I don't know which god I have to thank. I was asked to give the tutor a copy of the work. I did. She was shocked. I looked like a jerk. I gave her the page as if nothing was wrong. Straight look, straight face. What? It's a song. Forgive yourself. Mistakes? Don't shed tears. Embrace the years that you have. Embrace the past and the future. Cleanse the shame. Bad judgment, accidents. It's part of life's game. War is a mistake with bombs and guns, and the winner is no one. Leavings and losings, lovers and lies. One makes mistakes and everyone cries. Don't try to change the past. Futile, pointless, totally crass. If you've not made a mistake, you're either perfect or lying. If it's the latter, your conscience is sighing. Embrace the now, highs and dips, faux pas, silliness, all the slips. Mistakes let us learn to try to be good, kind and thoughtful, and not very rude. Mistakes are just a part of life. Don't beat yourself up or give yourself strife. Mistakes make us human, but cats make them too. Try to be cognizant, but still be you. The Familiar Strangers, Brona Murphy. Your familiar features greet me. Your eyes, your mouth, your mask. I listen keenly to your every word, and still I have to ask, do I know you? Sensing your feelings of pain or delight, I recognize your moods. I share your hurts, I share your joys, but still this thought intrudes. Do I know you? You tell me of your hopes and fears, but yet, try as I might, I can't be sure what you dream about when you're alone at night. Do I know you? Is your mouth the theatre that stages the play of your being as you'd like me to see? Does the curtain drop when I get too close, and does the actor flee? For no matter what you tell me, there's a jail behind all eyes, into which convict thoughts are driven, locked, and no one knows where the soul key lies. So however close we get, my friend, this will apply to us too. You'll always be, for me, the familiar stranger, and I the same for you. Here's a thing. Brona Murphy. Recently, I was wondering, am I a good thing? Am I a bad thing? Am I a broken thing? Am I a fixed thing? Relentless taunting made me feel like a thing. Relentless poking by the medical profession made me feel like a thing, a number, a chart, a file to defile, a piece of meat, a thing. I know I'm a thing, but this thing has a wing or two to fly high. This thing lives inside. This thing knows where real strength lies. This thing, this being, feels and observes, has the natural nerve to challenge the limits of being a thing. This inner thing is a phoenix, rising.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group. A whirlpool of swirling colours form this image, as blues, green, red and blacks fizz together.
Andrew Ward, Creative Reading. On the Way. I'm on the way to something so much greater. Satisfy my soul, revive creativity in my instincts and spirit. I'm on the way to creativity expressing my views and my faith, poems, art, drama, music, that complement each other. On the way to there, the place I'll inspire others, think outside the box, how to express their own thoughts, not to conform to others. On the way to see friends and family elsewhere, a short flight away, within the London suburbs and a town by the south coast. On the way to hear great jazz music in the club, the cafe poets, experience great culture, awesome freedoms of expression. On the way to feel the breeze rushing through the trees, through the blades of grass, sunshine on my face and arms, must wear my Factor 50. On the way to be inspired by other writers, their experience, encouraged by the poets and the city musicians. Ukulele busker, Andrew Ward. He plays an out-of-tune ukulele, thinks he's playing it quite jolly. He doesn't know how to behave. Being with him isn't safe. Sings it off-key in the park, annoys the neighbours' dogs, then they bark. Regulars find him hard to swallow, as across the field his song echoes. He's not someone on whom you could rely. He's the opposite, he's shy. Whoever he's upset, he doesn't care or mind. This irritating man's quite unkind. In Praise of Open Arts, Andrew Ward. Inclusion Open Arts for disability community, writing, drama, art, dance, choir. Gamelan also there, accompanies drama, choir, gives the stage atmosphere background. Awesome. 30-year anniversary, let's look back at all the events. Fantastic. Celebration, reflecting times, stage production, videos, not forgetting exhibitions. publications. Fabulous. Tutors and staff are also encouraging, bring out the best from us. 10. My anniversary creative writing class tutor, encouraging and gentle. Patience. Elfchins and rhymes, takkadas, haikus, verse, poems to read out, live. Drama, Monday players recording on Zoom, acting in our own homes, lockdown. Stage, the character playing dance, mime, song to the audience's delight, entertaining. Crescent is cool, cafe, hot chocolate, surrounded by art exhibitions, relaxing. Little is greatest, Andrew Ward. Little cards give the greatest messages. Little cars go on the greatest journeys. Little presents are the greatest gifts. Little pictures can be the greatest art pieces. Little voices give the greatest speeches. Little mouths sing the greatest songs. Little households give the greatest welcomes. Little gatherings make the greatest friends. Little rooms can be the greatest spaces. Little tables host the greatest meals. Little dogs give the greatest barks. Little creatures have the greatest cuteness. Little plants spread the greatest flowers. Little babies give the greatest smiles. Little lights can be the greatest brightness. Little beds can give the greatest dreams. Peter Livingston, creative writing. Shadow Dog. Who is that? Is that me? What's his name? Does he want to play a game? Who will win, me or him? Let us dance. Please, give me a chance. He just copies everything I do. The Shadow Twin, an evil Lord Kitty Cat. Peter Livingston. When I first arrived, I was top dog, living the life of luxury, until this lady and her evil cat decided to take over my house. Why would they take over my house? Don't they know dogs rule in this house? I'll teach them a lesson. I'll show them who's boss. They'll do as I say, else there be hell to pay. Father's Day, Peter Livingston. Like all other fathers lying in bed, thinking wishes in their head, what'll my kids get me this day? Probably the same as last year, I'd say. I rush downstairs to see the wife, who with open arms gives a hug. Like all fathers, I look at my wife and wonder what she's got me. Oh no, another jumper. Thank you, I say, with a thin grin on my face. Jack and Jill, Peter Livingston. Jack and Jill went up the hill to pay Bill for painting the mill. Then one day Jack went away to pay for a drill to fix the mill on top of the hill. But when Jill fell ill, she went to Dr. Phil. He gave her a pill and told her it was time to make a will.
Carly Palmer, creative writing. Creating her own spell. Crystal was feeling anxious. In her creative magic class, they were working on a big project to make a powerful spell book, and each student would get to add a spell which fitted with them or helped with a problem. However, she was feeling unsure. Her heart was pounding and her magenta-furred hands were shaky. Breathing deeply, like Dougley had taught her, she began to feel a little calm. "You all right?" Dougley asked her. She explained what was happening in creative magic class. He was excited for her, but understood why she was anxious, and his big grin made her sigh. "You might have an idea already. You just don't see it," he told her, going to his study. Crystal felt confused by his words. What did he mean? Her purple eyes widened as she realised she could create a calmness spell to not just help her, but other humans and magical creatures that were anxious. She knew that with a creative spell, randomness was involved. She would have to think how this would work. Crystal knew things that evoked calmness could be ingredients like calming thoughts, deep breaths, the scents of chamomile, mint, and her personal favourite, lavender. She was unaware that a spell was already working on her, making her grin. Submitting said spell before the deadline, she grinned, and Dougley grinned. "I guess you figured it out after all," he told her. She nodded. Casey and the Tanuki Girl, Carly Palmer. It was just a typical late night at the Pemberton apartment, with Casey helping Dougley stargazing. Being from space, she loved astronomy. Then she sensed something, causing her surprise. "Woohoo! "Heads up, humans," a voice yelled. A female kit landed on the roof in a comparable way to how Casey had arrived. Casey stared at the newcomer. She had green pupilled eyes, wore armour like Casey, had lighter brown hair and fur, a little black nose with teeny tiny whiskers, and a tail like Casey's, only she wore blue tinted shades. Casey realised something and went to get her dad. "Yep, she's a tanuki, like Bento, but super magical, and your cousin Yoko," Momo said. "Can she stay, please, Uncle Dudley?" Casey asked Dudley. "I don't see why not. She's family. And I bet you want to show her to Crystal, huh?" he said, seeing her nod. Yoko was feeling shy, but looking forward to living on Earth with her cousin and her family. Following her inside the apartment, they heard that Yoko had been living with their Obama, June. "You'll love it here, trust me," Casey told her. They found her a room, as coming here must have made her tired. She had flown here from Tokyo without a plane, impressing Casey and the others. Crystal kept checking on her in case the normalness had returned. She saw Casey shake her furry head. Discovering Aria, Carly Palmer. "You sure this is a good idea, Queen Naraka?" Dudley asked. The dark blue-skinned Queen of Aria nodded in reply. She knew it was time to try and let humans, especially young ones, in. "Yes, Kendra is the bridge between Aria and the human world. Trust me," she said. She knew that Aria and Earth needed to be connected again and to allow humans to walk between both worlds. Her niece was the future. In her room, Kendra Aseba awoke from an awesome dream of another world that was magical, mysterious. Wondering what was going on, she was unaware that her eyes were gleaming, but they faded after blinking. Getting ready for the day, she was hoping it would go okay. She was unaware of the magic that would enter her life. After leaving, she was walking to school, feeling like something exciting was going to happen. Taking a shortcut through the park, she sensed this magical feeling bubbling in her. "Portalus opinus," she randomly called out. Suddenly, to her surprise, a magical aura glowed around her, and magical energy spurted from her hands, creating a portal. After taking a deep breath, she decided to go through the shimmering portal she had created, and which dissipated behind her. She appeared in a bustling city, like the one she had come from. She was in awe, especially at the majestic purple-bricked castle in the heart of the city. "Where am I? Another dimension?" she asked, curious. "Not another dimension, but magical all the same. This is the kingdom of Aria, a magical, mysterious world of many realms, and you have adventures ahead of you. Come with me," Queen Naraka told her. "Okay, Your Highness," Kendra replied, following her into the purple-bricked castle. She listened intently to the dark blue-skinned and pointy-eared queen, her eyes widening in awe. This world seemed awesome. Kendra was stunned that she would be the bridge between Aria and Earth. "I'll explain everything in time, that you can take in what you've learnt," Queen Naraka said, smiling.
Alison Black's image is a deep golden orange with bright yellow curves, a band of white and blobs of beige.
Alison Black, creative writing. Golden lullaby. You left me. I left you. I'm a long way from home. I miss your happy moments, memories we shared. No regrets, barriers we broke down, goals we met. We overcame fears. Prediction. Alison Black. When I was with Gloria, she predicted things that would happen in my life. She knew me well, better than myself. She wasn't psychic. I more or less kept to her words. I kept on track. I hope I made her proud, keeping her memory alive. Wolf. Alison Black. A cry of help, anxiety breaking ground, feeling all alone in a crazy situation. Lost in translation, lost in life moments, emotional twist of fate, emotions to the surface. The situation in a mess, trying to salvage things as best as possible. A cry, calling for help. Home, Alison Black. I'm far from home. Hold me in your life. Don't cry, but laugh. I gave you the best years of my life. I never meant to leave you. It happened. Facing up to reality. I miss home.
Jerry McBride, Creative Writing. Impressions.
Scene, an art gallery, early evening. Samantha in her wheelchair and Daisy are admiring a painting. Samantha moves close to the painting to look at a detail. Enter George Gray, abruptly.
Excuse me, she's not allowed to be so close to the painting.
Daisy and Samantha look round.
Excuse me?
I said she's not allowed to be so close to the painting.
Why not?
She might damage it.
How?
You never know what she might do. Look, she's breathing on it. Tell her to stop.
Daisy to Samantha.
Stop breathing.
Samantha comically pretends to look shocked.
Stop breathing so close to it. She shouldn't be that close.
I've seen plenty of people that stand close to paintings.
Yes, but they're not like her.
What do you mean?
Well, she's not.
Looks at Samantha.
She's not.
Not what?
You just wouldn't know what she might do. This is a very valuable painting.
And this is a very valuable person.
Yes, well, I'm here to meet a very talented person.
Well,
I'll be having my photograph taken here with the man who painted this wonderful painting in a few minutes. So, could you please move along?
the man who painted this wonderful painting in a few minutes. He's a fast painter. What's his name?
George looks at his documents.
Sam Kelly, a brilliant artist, as you can see.
I certainly can see. Do you know this artist?
Not personally, no. The editor of the Arts Online Weekly newsletter arranged for us to have our photograph taken here. It's an online newsletter about the arts.
Really? Who'd have guessed? And is it sent out weekly?
Yes. My name is George Gray. I represent the bank which has generously agreed to sponsor this up-and-coming artist.
As he hands Daisy his business card.
I've been instructed to meet him and a photographer from Arts Online here at this painting at 7 p.m. So, can you please leave before they arrive? Thank you.
Can we meet them too?
No, sorry. Move along. I want to create a good impression. You know what they say about first impressions? They're due here any minute.
First impressions are due here any minute.
George, beginning to get a bit exasperated.
Look, as a representative of a prestigious bank, it's important for me to present the best possible image to the media at all times. So can you please leave before they get here? That wheelchair is in the way.
We'll move over here then.
They move just a few feet away.
No, that won't do. Move completely away, out of this entire area. This whole space has to be entirely clutter-free. In fact, I'd prefer if you would leave the room altogether until this photograph has been taken.
He goes over and opens the door for them to leave.
You can come back later.
We can come back later, can we? That's very kind of you to allow us.
Daisy and Samantha look at him and each other as they do not move.
If you don't mind.
He tries to usher them out of the area he wants cleared, and he goes over and impatiently pushes Samantha's wheelchair towards the exit,
Oi, don't be so rude.
which startles George.
What did she say?
Why don't you ask her?
Samantha stubbornly moves back to where she was.
Is she all right?
Why don't you ask her?
George to Daisy.
Look, here's £10. Go buy yourself and your friend a cup of tea. You've seen all there is to see here.
George reaches out a £10 note towards Daisy, who, insulted, intensely stares at him
No, thank you.
as she continues to stare at him.
Can you please not cause any trouble? There's plenty to see in the rest of the building.
He puts away the £10 note and turns to look at Samantha.
Look where she is. She's in the way. She can't stay there. We'll need all this space for the photograph.
He tries again to usher Samantha away, points her towards the exit. Daisy, as she promptly produces a camera from her bag to photograph George with Samantha.
I'll take your photograph. Look over here. Smile, both of you.
She takes a photo with Samantha smiling, George looking confused.
I mean a photograph with the artist.
I've just taken your photograph with the artist.
What?
He's puzzled, looks at Samantha and then Daisy.
I've just taken your photograph with the artist. Sam, show him the letter from the bank.
Samantha gives the letter to George.
Read.
George looks at it, pauses, embarrassed, then artificially courteous, offers his hand very briefly to Samantha.
Delighted to meet you, Ms. Kelly.
To Daisy.
And you are?
Daisy Milligan from Arts Weekly.
Delighted to meet you, Miss Milligan.
He is suddenly very agreeable.
Where would you like me to stand for the photograph?
He backs into the painting.
Can you please not stand so close to the painting, Mr. Gray?
As Daisy takes a few more quick photos with Samantha smiling and George looking awkward and embarrassed.
Open Art's visual arts image is in monochrome greys and whites. It looks like the grain of wood, with organic and intricate lines and knots.
Thinking of you, Jerry McBride. I'm missing you. It's getting tough. Text messages are not enough. I want you close enough to touch. You seem to like me, but how much? Your text suggests that you adore me, but I'm not so sure when you ignore me. The ambiguous signals that you've sent suggest that you're ambivalent. Ambivalent and ambiguous in my thesaurus are contagious. I long for you right now to be contagious with me. Ambiguous and ambivalent are also, in a sense, equivalent. Are your feelings all the same, equivalent to mine? I love you, I cherish you, I admire you, I want you, I fancy you, I desire you, I adore you, I idolize you, I'm devoted to you, I'm mad about you, I'm wild about you, I dote on you. You're witty, you're bright, you're wise, you're intelligent, you're pretty, you're a sight for sore eyes, you're elegant, you've got style and grace and flair, you're self-possessed and cool and cute. I love your smile, your face, your hair, and all the rest of you to boot. You're so sweet, so delicate, you almost look edible. You look neat and respectable and gorgeous and bettable. You're fine, you're sublime, you're pulchritudinous. You're kind, you're benign, you're full of goodness. You delight me, you fascinate me, you mesmerize me, you excite me, you captivate me, you tantalize me, you ignite me, you stimulate me, you energize me. You're just right for me, you're just great for me. But do you have eyes for me? Do you love me? Is your love true? I want to know what the score is. I want to spend more time with you and less with my thesaurus. Waiting for Godot. Jerry McBride. We're waiting for Godot. We can't wait for it to start. We're waiting for Godot. Samuel Beckett's great work of art. We're waiting for Godot. It was due to start at 8. We're waiting for Godot. I hope it's worth the wait. We're waiting for Godot. We've been waiting for quite some time. We're waiting for Godot. It's almost 9:30. We're waiting for Godot. Nothing to be done. We're waiting for Godot. It's after 1:30. We're waiting for Godot. It must be near dawn. We're waiting for Godot. They say the show must go on. We're waiting for Godot. We've been waiting a night and a day. We're waiting for Godot. They say it's a very good play. We're waiting for Godot. They say it's quite a good laugh. We're waiting for Godot. We've been waiting a week and a half. We're waiting for Godot. We still haven't heard any word. We're waiting for Godot. This is quite absurd. We're waiting for Godot. We've been waiting for years and years. We're waiting for Godot. We've sacrificed our careers. We're waiting for Godot. We've all grown very long beards. We're waiting for Godot, but the cast have not yet appeared. We were waiting for Godot, waiting a long time, you recall. We were waiting for Godot, waiting in the bloody wrong hall. Rolling a snowball, watching it melt. Jerry McBride. I am not very adept, mostly because rupholic sentences inevitably deteriorate increasingly, frustratingly, discouragingly, disappointingly, simultaneously, paradoxically, irresistibly fascinating wordsmith gentlemen, literary fellows, ladies, girls, boys, and me too.
Sarah Cantillon, Creative Writing. The Storm. The storm came from the east. It navigated its way into all our lives. Shocking, the waves, the wind, the snow. It was forecast from the station, the radio station that blasted into all our lives. Forever we cry out for an end to all the devastation. Forever a war of words on a page screaming out. We want an end to it all. And so the wind beats against the wall, catching the branches, swaying the branches, tossing and turning in its rage, never ceasing, ever increasing. We watch from the confines of the roof space. We watch and wait in anticipation for an end to the devastation, a peace, a calm like no other, all in our time.
The Visual Arts Group has produced a tossing, frothing sea of blue touched with white foam and the suggestion of a pink sunset on the horizon.
The Tumultuous Ocean, Sarah Cantillon. What was I to do under the moonlit sky? The earth responded, and I looked beyond the heavens. The sky cried out in all its glory. There was no end to the wandering mind, and no rest for the damned. Heavily I sighed and thought that once there was an earth-shattering, an unforgiving sound that far outweighed the violence of the tumultuous ocean. The ocean that never ceased, never rested, its undulating waves curling round and crashing on the shore. The shore that moved and transformed with the wind, that was forever changing direction, casting forth the debris off the seabed, never stopping to breathe as it cast the clouds this way and that. Seagulls tossed about like mere shadows, waiting to catch the next flight. As I look on, I become restless. I yearn to dance, restless for movement and change. I long to dance by the light of the moon, under a velvet sky, beside the dark, somewhat mesmerizing and beautiful ocean. Foreboding Rain, Sarah Cantillon. It rained heavily that day. The women sang out and the birds twittered. In the city, on the chimney pots, the clink of the drops, as we went about our daily lives, soaking it up, meandering through the streets, the grey, glistening streets, the boulevard below, and the song and dance of the freedom fighters that took the world by storm. Give me back the rooftop droplets, the clink, clink, clink of the cheap beer glasses as they toasted the race that ran that day, under the miserable grey clouds and the drip-drop of the rain, under the heavy lead sky. The Ever-Changing Sky, Sarah Cantillon. The sky is a mystical blue heaven, a blanket stretching out above the earth. Every now and then the air changes. The mystical blanket gives out a grey, a misty demeanor. Perhaps, said the sky, it's time I added some color to the spectrum. Look, it is dusk. The blue gives way to gentle red. Tomorrow it will be sunny and bright. Tomorrow, said the sky, I will bask in the sunshine and rest on the clouds.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group. Corrugated lines are the base of this abstract image of browns and yellows with worms of brown. There's part of a circular structure with the feet and head of a tortoise. A touch of red sits above the tortoise.
Ryan McCartney. Visual art. The change of seasons. All the hesitation as wardrobes are organised, dithering whether to put winter woolies away yet. That could be quite a big mistake for sure. Don't cast a cloud till May is out is very true, you bet. Because we never know from one day to the next. Sorry, I meant 1 hour to the next actually. Because we get 4 seasons per hour in this country, you never know what's going to be next. But sitting in the conservatory, feeling the heat on the back of your neck, oh, how lovely. Without debate, how very relaxing definitely it is, sitting with your eyes closed, the heat on you. The mornings get brighter earlier, able to be out longer, such an enjoyment without doubt. Everyone is able to enjoy themselves, getting out here and there, going for a drive to Newcastle, walking around a promenade is so great. Or else it's the duck pond in Newton Ards. Wherever it may be, it's a lovely walk without debate. Oh, how I love to see the flowers blooming in their beautiful colours for sure. It really gives you a lift. Peace, perfect peace. Ryan McCartney. Hearing the waves crash against the shore as they creep up the sand gradually, children flee in case they get wet, seagulls swipe overhead with such glee. They wait for the next ship, but not too bored this time. We'll just keep to the skies without debate. I'm sitting with my eyes closed, loving the lapping of the tide. Oh, how enjoyable. It really is great. A slight breeze tickling me now and then. The sand beneath my feet is so comforting. It feels like walking on air every now and again. Oh, how I love the tinkling sounds as the water swish over the rocks. How peaceful it is. But only when it's dry weather. With rain it shocks. But for now, that's out of the question. I'm sitting and enjoying every minute of the day, the sound of every lapping wave as the sea creeps up the beach. Oh, how I'd sit here just taking it all in, loving every minute of it. If you're feeling down the dumps, a little depressed, it's the best thing to do. But now it's starting to get dark, light is fading rapidly. I suppose I better start making tracks and getting home safely. Oh, how I dread having to drag my eyes away from the fabulous scenery I love absolutely. But I will be back, without a doubt, to do it all over again.
Sarah Cantillon has provided a childlike image of giraffes, elephants, lions, tigers, a zebra, and a snake. Above them all the sun shines, and a brightly coloured parrot talks to a flying fish.
Gareth Smith, Open Arts Community Choir and Monday Players. The Open Life of Blakey. I'm Blakey, the blackbird. I absolutely love to fly, especially in open spaces. I have no fear of heights and I love the summer weather. I'm not so keen on the winter as it's cold, but thankfully my feathers help to keep me somewhat warm. When the winter is very hard, icy and snowy, I make sure to shelter in the tree trunks. I make a hollow in them so I can fly inside. I was born and lived for a short time in Florida, but at a very young age I left home to travel around the world. As a bird, it's easy to go anywhere. My parents always taught me to be independent and make my own way in life. I could fly from about 9 months old. Additionally, I feed on plants and sometimes fruits of many kinds to keep my strength up. The thing I like about being a bird is how quickly I can get to one place from another. In addition, I have a great sense of direction. I really feel sorry for the humans at the moment, as they are in lockdown. It is not easy for them to use public transport and they need to social distance. I do have many friends who are birds of many kinds and we do meet up from time to time. If only I was big enough to carry humans on my back, I would love to fly them to places for days out at this time. On saying this, the humans love to hear us singing as they sit in their gardens. I love to see their smiles as I sing for them with the other birds. Because there is less traffic on the streets at the moment, the people are more aware of our tweeting, so I guess this is somewhat rewarding. Yesterday I was flying around Botanic Gardens in Belfast, and a blind man called Gareth was remarking how he loved to hear the birds sing. This was very heartwarming, as although he couldn't see me, he felt relaxed by us. I did have one experience some time ago, which was not very nice, When I was young, one day I flew into someone's garden. This really horrible man lived there, and he hated the fact that I was there in his garden. He grabbed me and shut me in a cold, dark bunker. This was so terrifying for me, as there was no open air which I was used to. Fortunately, the bunker was made out of wood, so I was able to make a small hole with my beak in the wood and fly through. I waited around, and the next time I saw the man, I rewarded him with a very nasty bite in the arm before making my escape as quickly as possible. As the years went by, I met a lovely ladybird, and we have 2 children of our own. They are now making their own way in the bird life. As I look back at my life, I can see there have been more highs than lows. In a few years, my life will probably come to an end. Until then, I'm going to keep as healthy as I can and keep flying, plus enjoying the lovely open world. I hope you've enjoyed my short, but hopefully sweet story of my bird life. A day in the life of a grandfather clock. Gareth Smith. I sit on the shelf in a second-hand store. Customers buy things, but me they ignore. Sure, who wants a clock whose springs are all rusted, whose numbers are worn and hands which are busted? I reflect on the days when I could tell the time, when each day and hour I would then chime. The years rolled on by and I grew unwell. The time of each day I could no longer tell. But one day a clockmaker came to the shop. He walked up beside me and then he did stop. He examined and then took me down from the shelf. As he walked to the counter, he smiled to himself. The shopkeeper said he would not take a dime. Why pay for a clock that cannot tell the time? But the clockmaker took me out through the shop door. He'd make something of me, that clock from the store. Later the clockmaker took me apart. With a smile of great pleasure, some work he did start. He gave me some new hands and fixed up my springs. He polished and cleaned me with all sorts of things. So now, my dear friends, I have a new lease of life. My worries are over, and so is my strife. Throughout the old house my chime it does ring, as I marvel at the fact that he fixed everything.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group. Circular planets of blue, yellow, green and orange are connected by comet trails of red, yellow and green, with painted brushstrokes of black, green and blue.
John Caulfield, Gamelan Performance Group. A year of walking in the park. The autumn turned the falling leaves to gold. Curious squirrels scampered, ever watchful, storing up hope for their cold emptiness, but no one could foretell what was to come. The winter brought bare trees scratching the sky, the sadness of lonely footprints in the fresh snow. Friendly faces kept the distance, hiding behind masks. But at least there was the park and my daily walk. The spring saw beginnings of a new life growing. The joyful gift of daffodil and crocus brought colour. There was still an edginess within the park, but there were smiles again and good morning. The summer saw life come back into the park, stopping by the bright flower beds to chat again. Dogs barking and children sang, and it was joyful. With each new day, a new normality begins to grow. A New Dawning. John Caulfield. Standing together on the lookout bridge, we watch Belfast staring into the morning. The familiar sounds and sights all around, knowing nothing could ever be quite the same again. Yet here, where the river spilled into the loch, past and future seemed to swirl together. In the turbulent water of the weir below, there was also a peacefulness, a new optimism. Hands that were held high at the garden gate, to clap aloud thanking heroes and helpers, now held tight, fingers entwined, inseparable. We walked on past the buildings and the marina, on to stop at the curved rail, the stern of a great ship, the loch stretching out before us, deep and blue, merging seamlessly into sky at a distant horizon. Behind us the sun rose from crimson, orange, yellow, to settle into the brightness of a new morning. And there was hope, there was joy, and there was love, the only sound, 2 hearts beating within a single breath.
Open Arts Visual Arts Group. A background of brown has had spattered paint thrown at it, producing splodges of yellow, green, blue, purple and white, 2 long streaks of yellow form a diagonal X across the page.
Michelle Porter, Monday Players and Visual Art. Written on a napkin. This year has given sadness, tears, laughter with tears, emotions that can cripple you. However, in the midst of shards, love, compassion and a hug that comforts, gives strength to stand strong, lift your head, majestically carry on. The Tree, Michelle Porter. Everybody sees different things in a tree. Faces, elephants, flowers, trucks, men and women motoring along. And when they rustle, you can hear the wind. As they rustle, they see and never tell. Romance, murder, mayhem. The strong trees could tell a story. You can circle under them. They can shelter you from many a thing. Strong, regal, elegant. The Tree. Sisters, Michelle Porter. 2 sisters I have. I have had these 2 for a long time. However, it's just recently I realise how precious they are. They are strong, silent, standing beside me. And I do laugh because they have more sense than I will ever have. They are also mothers. As sisters, we 3 children stay strong and beautiful together. I am so thankful for them.
Delia Scan, Gamelan. Par Avion. Thin blue fold-away paper, crisp, stamped, the monarch in profile. This emblem of separation now speaks to me of mothers and sisters. The women always the writers. Week on week, writing, telling good news and bad. Children's feats, husbands' farings, as each ascent and descent of the wet nib swallows thousands of miles. The blue ink lost mid-Atlantic in a full stop. These letters, almost conversations, almost whispers, lie folded on the dusty mantle, now taken down, reread and refolded when the lamp is good. So why today do I take this pen and write? And why, when I do I finger through memory to find the air of Kilkelly, hear its first lines and your young voice? And why, when I do I reel on to see you in that red baseball cap, sitting at this same table? And why, when I do I ken the oceanic expanse of loneliness? Ah, this blue paravion, this thin envelope of memory and love, now driving on the mantle of my memory, holds more than the ascents and descents of my wet nib.
Kate Ingram, Founding Chief Executive. In Memoriam, Edith Frances Jess. She brought her little life onto my ward, a life of uncomplaining washing, caring, loving. This wee country woman from Ballynahinch. It wasn't too bad in that room on my own, but it's good to have some company. In Lagan Valley Hospital, a big burly man asked her, "How are you still standing?" And now she's here. I lean to listen when her doctors speak, because she cannot take it in. And then I repeat and repeat, it's good to have some company. She lies on her side for the biopsy. It didn't hurt at all. How are you still standing? Samuel, the neighbour's 4-year-old, loves her to bits. He's made a get well card covered in stickers. Asks his father, "But why is she in hospital?" It's good to have some company. She pines to return to Norman, married nearly 50 years, and daughter Cheryl in the fire department, at home though 36. How are you still standing? She doesn't know how they'll manage. the cooking and cleaning, and there's the washing to be done. It must be hung on her lovely long line. But why is she in hospital? Her doctors are not hopeful. At 74, her body cannot stand the treatment. She can go home, a blood transfusion when she needs it, for as long as it works. It's good to have some company. I explain she will not be entirely alone. A district nurse will visit every week. She can return to normal life, to hanging the clothes in order on the line. How are you still standing? I am dozing when her Norman comes for her. Wake up in time to say goodbye and wish her well. It's good to have some company. Hospital Haiku. Kate Ingram. Close the lid tightly. Stay safe inside. Fantasize. Smile through the window. A hospital ward, the ultimate in lockdowns, a path to freedom. It's long with 6 beds. My box looks down on Belfast. I will get better.
Jolene Flynn, Open Arts Community Choir. You did it. A darkened room, a blinding spotlight, no faces, only figures. You step out onto the stage, taking a breath to calm your heartbeat. Again, you take another breath, this time to calm. In the silence before the music begins, you know this, you can do this, you have practiced. It's muscle memory now. You take another breath and begin. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You feel the energy in the room, the electric energy, the rush, the pull that makes this moment so special, the draw that makes you keep bringing yourself back to this medium. You did it, and you will do it again, chasing the buzz, the fun, the magic, the excitement, the adrenaline, the atmosphere. In this moment, you're free. In this moment, you can shine. You did it, and it feels amazing. Open Arts inspires and supports the creativity and artistic development of disabled people through its weekly classes in a wide range of art forms: music, drama, dance, writing and visual art. Our participants have a range of disabilities, including physical, sensory, learning disabilities and mental health illness. www.openartsni.org. You feel the energy in the room, the electric energy, the rush, the pull that makes this moment so special, the draw that makes you keep bringing yourself back to this medium. You did it, Jolene Flynn. Words Out is an anthology of creative writing and artwork produced by participants from Open Arts, a groundbreaking arts and disability organisation based in Belfast. www.openartsni.org.